Hey y'all, we're live. Happy Shift Talk Day to you. And I am Latanya Taylor, affectionately known as the Rev Coach, the Juicy Spirit Mama, the Priestess of Purpose, Pleasure, Passion, and Profits. And today, let me, okay, there we go. I had a little feedback. So I wanted, it's so much to talk about in the invitation to do a new thing in spring. This is our season. This is our season. Who am I talking to? I'm talking to those of you who are in love with your divine feminine or want to fall in love with your divine feminine. Those of you who love the divine feminine and support her, and you could be a divine masculine, right? So this season is so promising. And you say, okay, Latanya, there is so much going on in the world. There is so much upheaval happening on the planet. How could you come in here with this cheerful energy? And I'm so glad you asked. Because it took a lot of work, but it also takes a lot of play. So I want to invite you to let's look at what has been all the rage, all the talk this weekend, which has absolutely been the whole outages that happen. It has opened up a conversation. I recently saw another friend talk about why certain spiritual light workers, or just those of you who do transformation work, why so many of us have been silent about what's happening in other lands as well, right? And then we just had another event kick off when it comes to other lands, right? Now, isn't it interesting, because I'm using someone else's platform, I have to talk in code. This is why it's important for us to be aware, be informed, and also be strategic to be able to do what we have to do, move around, but invite us to spaces that we own, or spaces that we are free to have the conversations, which may mean that you need to make an investment. Now, this is a little bit of a shameless plug to join the Rebirth 360 Sanctuary, where we do not have to do the editing, the jumping through hoops, and all of that, the things. And you can stay up to date in your email and through. Listen, I'm doing and modeling what, when you have premonition, when you have insight to what's happening, then what you do is you make moves. And so one of the moves that I'm trying to make sure that I can see the chat if you start to talk to me. So one of the things that we have to be prepared to do, and I don't know if you all can see me on Instagram. Let me see. Yeah, see, I should have known Instagram was a problem once again. So I was prepared for this. This is what I'm talking about, actually. I did a live just the other day talking about adjusting. So even as we get ready to do, yes, I'm still talking to you as I adjust, because let me just do a little intro to Instagram. 3, 2, 1. Welcome. It's time to do a new thing for spring. And this is the Divine Feminine season. I'm already talking to YouTube. So because I had to make an adjustment, I now am talking to YouTube and to Instagram. So I'm talking to you both. I had to make an adjustment in order to do this. And so this is a great entryway into the invitation to do a new thing for spring. Do a new thing for spring. So what are you talking about, Latanya? Well, there is so much to talk about, as I said, right? We have had the outages this week. I set this up by saying, We can either complain or go into fear, or we can do a new thing. So if you do a new thing, that means you got to look at the old thing that you've been doing. What is your normal thing that you do when the ish hits the fan, right? When the ish hits the fan, when life happens, what do you do? Now, let me tell you the leadership conversation right up front, the leadership conversation of what to do and what you can do. The leadership, hey y'all, I love how my people come in and say, hey, that's what I love about live time and being able to communicate with you all. I don't want to just be talking just to talk. I want to communicate with you all. But let me tell you this real quick, right? So the normal thing to do when you're playing in a normal game is to talk like normal people. And so the normal thing to do is to say, I have too much on my plate. But the leader's conversation is get a bigger plate. Yeah, I want to give you the answer up front, but can we work a little bit now with how to get there? How to get there? So now we already know that you can't have a normal conversation and be extraordinary. So these are extraordinary times. So you certainly cannot have a normal conversation in extraordinary times. The extraordinary times is calling for an extraordinary response. Come on now. Y'all feel me on this? So when we talk about this whole you do a new thing in spring, and we already established that you can't be normal. So your normal response is I got too much on my plate. Your normal response may be fight or flight, check out. And sometimes you might be checking in on the wrong things, tapping in into the things that zap you, tapping in into the things that distract you, tapping in into the things that worry, tapping into, oh man, it's starting to sound like a song. It's starting to sound like a song. Tapping into the things that give you anxiety, tapping into the scrolling on the Instagram, so you can use that energy though. And when we talk about self-mastery, spiritual mastery, or any form of mastery, sometimes you got to do what my husband says. I've been quoting him a lot. My husband reminds me sometimes when he's teasing me, and sometimes when he is reminding me, ain't nothing good unless you play with it. Ain't nothing good unless you play with it. And sometimes the ridiculousness that's happening on the planet can be so severe, cause so much grief and so much anger, that what happens to it if you stuff it, if you ignore it, if you turn off and pretend like you don't see what you don't see, you do see. You begin to close your third eye. And so then the reality that you create becomes the thing that is programmed into your vision, the thing that you are given attention to. And so the law of attraction says that what I focus on grows. Come on, this ought to be good to somebody. I ought to put my Cash App right in the, this ought to be good to somebody. Even if it's to me, I'm going to seed into my own life, because what I'm saying is, what we put our attention on grows. Now, there's some things that are coming to us that are produced, right? There are some things that come to us that are censored and edited. And so this is where those of you who are scriptural will understand, study and show thyself approved. But many of us get spiritually lazy. We don't necessarily want to do the study. You may say paying bills is not right. I know that there's something more to this. There's better than this. I know somebody says this sometimes, right? But you're not willing to do the research of consumer laws, or to be able to respond to the creditors in a certain way and hold corporations accountable. Yeah, see, you don't know who knows what they know just because they're not talking about it all the time, because there's so much to know. And y'all don't like know-it-alls, right? And so, but this is the season of in the age of Aquarius, of knowing. Many of us have been taught how to be believers. Believers have to constantly be inspired to have faith. And so if you're a believer, unto you as you believe. And so if you believe in fear, if you believe in the polarization that's happening, If you believe it, then it becomes more and more true on the planet. And then there are the things that have been hidden from 80% of us, that affect us, that inform our narrative in the culture, whether it be through the news or through social media, and us then repeating it and giving more attention to it. So if you know this is true, how many of you know this is true? Come on now, you can say amen or ouch if this is reminding you, if you know that this is true. And so now we feed it. Why? Because our shadow self likes a little gossip. Our shadow self is drawn to looking at somebody else's pain, because then we don't have to look at our own. Our shadow self is drawn. And so the shadow thoughts become more real because we're giving more time and more attention to the shadow self. You can call it whatever name in your religion, in your tradition, you can call it whatever name, but we give more energy to the shadow self. And so then we create these shadows of, I don't have enough, I can't afford, I gotta, my children need me. And before you know it, your children have needs because you need to be needed. Oh my goodness, the cycle continues over and over and over again. And we call it life happening. But what about us happening to our lives? So why can I come on here and be all chipper? Why can I come on here after there's been outages, after there are predictions that the banks are slowly going to do a thing, after predictions of your friends who are saying you better stock up and get your water? Because if you don't have information, if you are not standing on something, we're talking about standing on business. How about that? We're talking about standing on business. Right? But the most important business is the one that you mind for yourself, minding your own business. And so what's the business that you need to mind? Do you need to come up out of everything that has been casted over you from the news, from social media, from the distractions, so that you can tap back into that something? I'm talking to those of you that know that there's a something that you have to tap into. And people may think that you're strange because you're happy, you're chipper, because because those who understand. And so let me tell you something. So let me tell you, I get real excited, right? I get real excited about this type of thing at this point, especially when I can get into my own vortex, because I want to model for you, but I cannot model for you what I don't do for myself. Ooh, that might hit some of the leaders right in the gut. Right in the gut. Because those of us who are givers, who are helpers, those of us who are parents, even you all oftentimes want to give and want to put yourself in position for them, and then you look around and before you know it, you're depleted and don't have anything to give to anybody else because you're too busy trying to model, trying to lead, trying to be on brand, and all of this. And the further you get from the calling and for the cause, because the calling has a cause, and the cause is not always about your brand. The calling or the cause is not always about what's going on, because we'll have a because. Well, I can't do this because that's the cause. I can't do that because in your mind that is the cause. But we're not looking at the effect. There is a cause and an effect in the law of attraction. And so when I say happen to your life, the invitation is for you to become cause, so that the effects is something like Psalms when it says that 10,000 may fall at my right hand. Come on now. Fill it in. Let it not come near my dwelling. Because I go and I support this. I know I'm speaking several languages here, right? I'm speaking to the beginner that always comes in with, I'm just learning this. I'm just trying to understand this energy talk. Because when you're new to this, it's quick to go to, I don't understand. And the most powerful place To be is to seek to understand rather than to be understood. And sometimes our victim consciousness is always wanting us to be understood versus seeking to understand. And really, there's a place beyond understanding that is understanding. This too deep for somebody? I'm just asking. Too deep? YouTube? Instagram too deep? So when I say, let's do a new thing in spring, let's do a new thing this spring because this season is ripe. So I want to speak to those who are more familiar or willing to learn, who are willing to seek to understand a little astrology happenings and cosmic happenings on the planet. We have been continuously hit with solar flares. Dr. Jewel Pookrum says when the earth is hit with solar flares, it's like playing piano on your DNA. I just wanted to pause for effect. So even when you're sleeping and the solar flares are happening on another continent, there's a butterfly effect that you are going to feel it because you are dwelling here. You may even be astro traveling. You're going to feel it. So if your mind is programmed with victim consciousness, the first place that you go to is what's wrong? What did I do wrong? Or what they did wrong? Victim consciousness. It's happening out there. And then when you say, look, I want to do a new thing, I want to shift, I want to play to win and not just play or be played, then sometimes you got to do a new thing. That means even if you got to get up and move to a new seat so that you can have a different perspective, you got to tap into use a new language, maybe look up a word. If that's too much work for you, understand that this new moon in Pisces that's coming up is already supercharged because, so we got solar flares happening. That's like DNA, right? Playing piano on our DNA. It's like stem cell leaps that are happening for real. You're not crazy. So this Pisces new moon is in conjunction with several planets, Uranus, Jupiter. I could be calling them out of order. So you have this energy. Pisces represents the heart. The subconscious mind is also represented by the heart, biblically even. Out of the heart flows the issues of life. So even while we see upheaval, it is the end of a season for those who are the masters of chaos and upheaval. And so just like your ego, come on now, anybody know what ego means? Come on now, ego, E-G-O, easing God out. So just like you have an ego, the ego of these masters of chaos and illusions and dark matter, they know their time is up. That might be too deep for here. And just like you fight for your ego, that's what we see happening. So sometimes we don't know what is real, what is produced, what's the truth. You have to become a knower, because the age of belief is over. Pisces represents I believe. The age of Pisces is over. So unto you as you believe is really over. You're going to awaken to something whether you want to or not. And there will be those who will awaken by choice, and there will be those who will awaken by force. But I didn't come here to tell you that. I'm telling you that you have a choice. to do a new thing for spring. You have a choice to keep interrupting the patterns of the ego so that the ego cannot win over your family. The ego cannot win over your finances. The ego cannot win over your feminine sisters. It's easy for you, some of you. I just heard this from Spirit. I need to say this. I don't know who I'm talking to. I didn't even look at you, Instagram, to see who's in the room because I don't want anybody to say I'm talking to them. But this message is coming through. It's real cool to be your independent. I can do it by myself. Go live at my girlfriend's house. I'll just have to handle it. And it's cool for you to say a piece of man is better than no man at all until you need the leadership of a man and the masculine and the covering. I don't know who that's for because we got the game twisted. And this season of sovereignty, of freedom, it has to happen in women. I've invited people to the Rebirth 360 Sanctuary for almost 9 months to get us off of Facebook, so we're not at the throes of when something shuts down and cuts off or censors, and you do keywords and you get you know what banned. You know what I'm talking about. But there are some people in your life that want to be slaves. And some of you might be sleeping next to them, but you gotta be the one sometimes to be able to be, if you're gonna be the priestess over your own household, it requires something of you. So do you want to do a new thing? Because whether you want to do a new thing or not in this season, a new thing is happening. Yes and amen. But I'm trying to stop saying amen. And somebody say, oh my God, she's sacrilegious. But go look it up. Amen means to hide it. So this is why you see those of us who say, so it is, or ashe. Some say, so mote it be. But listen, I'm telling you about the lineup of the new moon in Pisces and the conjunctions that are happening, and that Uranus is direct right now. Let me think. Neptune is direct right now. And for the rest of the month, this is the opening that has not been favorable really since about 2021. And that's why so many people who had a difficult year in 2023, because people were just trying to get back to business as usual. And there has been no business as usual. This train is moving. And some of you don't want to see I can't even say the name of the upheavals that are happening in foreign lands. That's why I got a free spirit has to have spaces to be free, even if that means we have to meet in person. By the way, you want to do a new thing with people who want to do a new thing. There might be people in your family who don't want to do a new thing. They don't want to hear about doing a new thing. Because the new thing that's required of us is going to expose the people around us who are stuck on the old thing, the old paradigm. And that's when it comes to this game called money and social media, this thing where we are always trying to sell and not serve, where we are always trying to take and not give, where we are, because this is the culture that many have been following, millennials who are pissed off and angry, and Gen X, you can't be on the fence anymore. We got to be family for real. So that means you got to do a new thing with people who want to do a new thing. If you got a partner that wants to do a new thing, y'all better try to work out the old things that keep on coming up that keeps you from doing the new thing. If you got children and the children are calling for you to parent, you got to do a new thing. This is a new thing season. I might have to change this little challenge that I'm calling that I'm inviting you all to this little 5-day challenge, because I'm inviting you for real to the fab factor. But some of you all have had hesitation because you still think that your divine feminine is weak. But oh, baby, I'm talking to you from the astrological level, from the psychological level, from the metaphysical level, from the numerological level, because you will see and you will say, I wish I had said yes when I heard yes, instead of saying, oh, wait, I don't know, because that's the shadow self. I'm just saying. Yeah, I got a little spirit today. I got a little spirit because when I can feel my cup, I run over like this, because this is my divine assignment. And this is one of the reasons why you got to look at, even if you're in your industry, whatever your calling is, whatever your assignment is. But if you're trying to do your calling like somebody else's calling, and you cannot find yourself, you'll keep on doing the formula, feeling like you're not doing something right, because when you can tap into universal law will be the translator. Universal law will activate your spirit to hear from the spirit of God that is assigned to you and in you. You know, when they say it's not in you, it's not on you, it's in you. But some of us, it's on us and it's in us, and we can't even run from it. And it's time to do a new thing. And even if you don't have the microphone on the main stage, even if you don't have the numbers on social media, don't give up who you truly are just to get the followers. Because what? Or just because you're trying to get the outside external approval. Why? We're in a major growth season right now. And if you're distracted, the spiritual warfare that will happen in you will be reflected of what they're saying is happening in this land, and now in another land, and now in Texas, and over here in North. You'll just keep on, and then it'll be worried instead of knowing that you're covered, that you can tap into your discernment, that you can know how not to always wives talk, broadcast, mouth, nagging. You should, you need to. And you start to go in. And then you start to see, the more you go in and shift, the more you go in and do your work, and the more you cleanse your head, and the more you open your spirit to joy, and then things begin to happen for around you. Then you will start to believe in your own divine feminine power as being tapped into God's power, the center of God's heart. If you need to hear it like that, it's time to do a new thing. And if you want to do a new thing, I just want you, holla, just drop holla in the chat is what I said. Holla if you hear me. Now, I came on here to call it the get in the vortex. Can you hear me now? 5-day free challenge. Yeah. Because I'm not depleted anymore. There are things happening around me, and if anything, I'm pregnant. Now that might scare some of y'all. Y'all ain't trying to get pregnant. But when you are carrying something and you know it, and it's bigger than your brand, it's bigger than the mask that you wear, it's bigger than your ego. When you're carrying something, when it's in you and it's on you, you got to do a new thing. This is a season of preparation for what people are talking about is the new earth. And I say what people is talking about because I want to talk about it in a sacred container, not here. That's another time. But Pisces energy It's an ending, the 12th month in preparation. And then you have this alignment that's happening. And then we're getting ready for a retrograde. So you want to be very deliberate in your communication. What are you asking for? What are you allowing? And what are you opening up to? Aligning. So this will be simple. It'll probably just be a little love note. I want to, let me put the, let me see if I have the right one. So you can text Rebirth 360. I probably should change it though, because I really text Rebirth 360 to this number, 833-594-3112. Or just drop holla in the comments if you want to do this 5-day free challenge. But I'm telling you, I'm inviting you to the 7-day. Now, if you join the 7-day, then you will also, you'll get a few bonuses that you only get when you join the 7-day, and which is a reading. Yep. So I know Spirit was going to say all of this through me. Do you all have any comments or any reflections? Can I hear from you? Okay, my sister Amina said, thank you for this. This has been affirming what I've been hearing from Holy Spirit. Yes, it's time for those of us who have spiritual gifts to get off the fence, stop pretending, stop trying to do business like everybody else when you're called to ministry. Stop trying to do a retail service when you're called to a boutique service. Stop playing small, or stop trying to play somebody else's big game or so-called big game, because many of us have been lied to. We've been lied to when it comes to business, and so many of us who knew it, saw it, have been quiet and feeling some kind of way. And that last year was the year to clear up feeling some kind of way about any of it, even for people who owe you money. This is the season for even people, come on now, for people who owe you money, where they had best make the payment to clear their debt. People who owe you an apology. It would be better for them to apologize and acknowledge their wrong, because the energy of Pluto in Aquarius is a divine suddenly. So a suddenly can be a divine interruption so that you can get into an alignment, or it can be a divine disruption. And the divine disruption can make you think that you're clear sometimes until that thing shows up. Yeah, this is some real interesting season. You can put it in your biblical language, because it's absolutely here. And I could go there, but I didn't come on here to preach. I came to do shift talk so that we can shift everything. Now you can go to the link in my bio and get the shift everything gift. The link is on Instagram. It's also in the chat here. You can go, right? You can get the shift everything gift. But I want you all, that if you feel that the shift talk, the call to do a new thing, I want you to put in the comments, holla. Just holla, because this challenge is going to start next week. And I'm looking forward to sharing more with you about it. So I love you. There's nothing. Wait a minute. We bought into a business model. We need the spirit model. That's what's coming. The spirit model is coming. This is a mystical season. And those who have been under the spell, see, y'all, do you all remember when the wand of the queen was broken? Y'all thought that they were just doing a European ritual? No, that it also represents the spell being broken. And so a lot of people, this is why so much chaos is happening, is because a lot of people, if you are majoring in minor things, then you can't focus on doing a new thing. You can't focus on the thing that you're called to do. You will run when you're doing your thing, you will run and not be weary. But first of all, you'll mount up on wings of eagles, excuse me. Run and not be weary, walk and not faint. This is a stretch season right now. And so the place that we have to stretch is an internal, it's a mental consciousness. So if you want to do a new thing for spring, I'm trying to get off of here. Y'all talking to me on Instagram. YouTube has been a little quiet. I can't see the chat. I might have to go back to the old system. This new system I'm using is not working for me. I'm also looking for a little bit of admin support, virtual support as well. So I am looking to not have to worry about some of these details. So even if it's not you, you'll be a witness. So when it manifests, because this is the kind of potent energy it is, you can either create or destroy. I'm inviting you, sisters, to create. When we say feminine, we're talking creative energy. When we say feminine, we're talking about abundance and overflow, especially when we say juicy, we're talking about overflow. So if you're scared or juicy, honey, then let's do a new thing challenge, and your boo can join you, and it can be male and female. It's been a whole lot of pull on me to have something that men can do too. I've been hearing it from my brothers. And so do a new thing challenge is something that we all can do. But I'm always going to lean into the Divine Mother. So because she is leaning in on me. All right, y'all. For real, I'm out of here. I don't even know how long I've been talking to you, because I did just show up to let it flow and let it go how Spirit gave it to me. And I will be talking to you in the sacred spaces that we have created in the sanctuary. And I look forward to building with you. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. I pray that you have a beautiful week. I pray that in this moment, there's something in you, something you heard. If you had a belly leap, that you will act on it, like Mary and Elizabeth had an acknowledgement to each other. Mary and Elizabeth is that divine communion between sisters, when we make each other's belly leap with that thing, because we don't want it to die in you. All right. Have a beautiful day. Ciao, ciao. Ciao. Ciao, Instagram. Ciao, YouTube. How do I log out of here? Connect until oh, there we go. End stream.